You're listening to another ambitious Entrepreneur Network.com podcast, the voice for entrepreneurs and small business. Now, onto the show.
Welcome to Industry Thought Leader Podcast. Stand out, be heard, influence. Want to influence real change with your message while become known as an authority in your field? Industry Thought Leader Podcast will show you how. Now, over to your host, Anne-Marie Cross.
And welcome to another episode of Industry Thought Leader Podcast, brought to you by Industry Thought Leader Academy. Stand out, be heard, and influence. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Cross, thought leader, or brand and podcast strategist, also known as the podcasting queen. So I'm hoping this is take two that we can hear you today, Pix. So she says, dreams with action defy logic. Joining me on today's show is Pix Jonasson. Now, overcoming significant life-threatening and life-altering challenges, she is an ever-positive, disciplined, focused, fun-loving, community-minded leader and entrepreneur. Now, unbeknownst to her parents, Pix endured several years of childhood sexual assault by an evil, predatory neighbour, and she's learned from her childhood trauma and subsequent personal tragedies, words are hard today, Pix, that your past does not define you or your future. She now coaches others who are stuck in past issues of abuse, of shame, guilt, anger, and emotional pain to break through and live a life of peace and a life of purpose. She's a sought-after online and offline speaker and a guest on various podcasts. Today, we get to hang out with her from around the world. Now, she also speaks and she has a coaching career. She's an international best-selling author. Yes, I can. And she's also got an upcoming book, Think and Get Rich After Hours, which is out soon. Now, on today's show, she's going to share 7 steps of building your resilience muscle, top tips for maintaining a positive attitude and mindset, as well as what she calls the triad for success, which is courage, connect, and communicate. So welcome to the show. And I can hear you.
Yay, fantastic. Technology is wonderful when it works, Anne-Marie.
Oh, I know. And it's been a full show. So for people who are listening to the audio version, you would have not have seen us go live. And this would be my third interview today. And I'm going to be going to the doctor straight after because my eye has been getting puffy and I think I'm puffy and I've got a lot of fluid build up. So words are really hard. My jaw is starting to get stiff.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, the work that you do. And obviously, really, we wanted to speak today and have you speak about resilience because many business owners are now finding themselves thinking, well, what next? What on earth is going to happen after this with my business? Because today my business does not look like it was in, say, a month or so ago. Yeah. So welcome. Love you to share more about what you do, and then we'll get into the 7 steps of building our resilience muscle.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Well, like many others, what I used to do about a month ago is not what I do today, but what I'm doing today is absolutely my passion. And we're talking about resilience, and it is all about, pivoting. People have to pivot, and we've heard that word. And for me, with a degree in natural resource management, basically it's adapting to change because Charles Darwin said it's the survival of the fittest, but it's those that are most adaptable to change are the ones that survive. And you have to be resilient. You have to work on that resilience muscle each and every day. So we will talk about my top 7 tips for building that resilience muscle. But what I do, I'm the owner of a beautiful online health and wellness business, which is, I'm excited to say, in 6 countries. I'm also a speaker, coach, author, and writer. So communication is my baby, and certainly very passionate about health and wellness. And that's inside and out as well, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, fabulous. So before we dive into those 7 steps, the 7 tips, how would you define resilience? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, well, you can have the dictionary definition, but basically it's that grit, that inner fortitude, that guts, that determination, that never say die attitude. And it's not how many times you fall down, but how many times you get up. And it's not aiming for perfection, but aiming for excellence. And the only person that you're competing against really is yourself. You aim to be that little bit better today than you were yesterday. Granted, I'm human. I'm a human being. I have times and moments and days when I'm less than my average, bright, bubbly self. That's okay. Acknowledge it. But just have something to look forward to. And I think something that's really important, Anne-Marie, and you're big on this with your mission and vision of 1 billion people, it is having that purpose of something greater than yourself. And we rise by lifting others up. And so when you've got that focus and that passion and that drive and that determination, that's resilience. Just that grit, that guts, that stickability factor, really.
Yeah, I love that. And the fact that you call it a resilience muscle really preempts the fact that even if maybe now some of us are sitting here listening to you, watching you, thinking, well, I don't feel very resilient. Where I am at the moment is nowhere near where I want to be. And so the fact that it is a muscle, if we think about exercising and going to the gym, it's something that can be built over time. Now, of course, we shared a little bit about your backstory, about, as a child. So growing up as a teenager, and I'm asking this because someone may be thinking, well, where do I start? It is a process. It is a journey. So have you found that even, through teenage years and so forth, there's always been the spark, there's something, or, resilience, you've grown, it's grown for you. How did that show up for you?
That's a really good question, Anne-Marie, because I've come from beautiful home and loving parents, but they weren't that entrepreneurial spirit. Like I remember Dad wanting to invest in property, but he was actually too scared to. So when did my entrepreneurial spirit develop? I'm not quite sure, but I do know that I read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I didn't want to trade time for dollars, as most people do. I get that some people are more than fulfilled in their job, and that's fine. But I knew there was more for me to have, do, be, and give. And so I had to do something that made me different than trading time for dollars. So I guess, I don't know. Actually, when I finished year 12, I went, yes, I'm never going to have to read another book ever again. And now here I am, an author of, a contributing author in a international bestseller and writing my own book. So, but there was a book, and it was The Secrets of Female Entrepreneurs Exposed by Dale Beaumont. And one lady in particular, I really resonated. And I went, oh my gosh, she's inside my head. And that, I guess, flicked the switch to go, there's more out there. I can have, do, be, and give more without feeling guilty. And so I've been on what you said, that journey. And I don't think you ever get there. Not that I'm not happy with where I am. I'm completely happy within myself. My situation can be a little better, and that's okay. But I'm happy within myself. So I've just, through teenage years, I haven't been an angel in my teenage years. Has that come from my sexual abuse? I don't know. Have I just been a rebellious teenager? I don't know. But I've been me, and I've accepted what I've gone through. And I'm also very grateful, because if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't be the person I am now. To have that empathy and that, understanding of what other people are going through as well, Anne-Marie.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, because, sometimes it's really nice to be able to hear other people share their story, because so often, the inner critic starts to compare. Well, it's easy for you, or that comes naturally for you. And all of this inner chatter really stops us. It's a barrier. And of course, we're going to talk now about the 7 steps to help us start to build the resilience muscle. So what's the first step? What do we need to do, Pix?
Well, I like to keep things simple, Anne-Marie. I'm a pretty simple girl, love learning. But so I've got 7 steps, and for me, it's an acronym. So to develop your resilience muscle, it's all about courage. And I'll just give you a bit of a backstory about courage. Initially, when I was born, I was only 2 pound 2. So I was a tiny little bubba. So I had that courage. I remember my late mum telling me that when I was born, I hung on to her hand so tightly. So she knew that I would live. She knew I had that courage and that determination and that fight for life. My maiden name was Cumming, and so the family motto was Courage, the lion. And so that instilled that courage in me as well. And also my late dad worked for Courage Breweries. So I think it very fitting for developing your resilience muscle to have that courage. And the acronym is, for those that don't understand what an acronym is, it's basically the letters of courage. So COURAGE. And our first tip is the letter C. Connect and communicate, which is part of my triad for success. Courage, connect, and communicate. And you've got to connect with others. Exactly what we're doing here, Anne-Marie. Learning from other inspirational, motivational people who have had they've got a PhD in life. There's stuff that's happened to them, but there's also stuff that's happened for them. And connect. You've got a phenomenal podcast series. That's one way of connecting. So that communicating, it's connecting and communicating. That's the first letter, Anne-Marie.
Fantastic. And yeah, as you said, it's so important to connect and communicate, particularly because of the situation that we find, but also in other situations of course as well. So I love the way that you've created an acronym for us to remember, because courage, I think, is very much part of resilience too, isn't it? It's courage, absolutely, to take that step, to stretch yourself. What's O stand for?
Having an open heart and an open mind, Anne-Marie. You've got to have that open heart, an open mind, be willing to learn, be willing to improve yourself, be willing to share. A case in point is like you give somebody a compliment and then they give you one back and you can't accept it. Have that open heart to accept compliments and have that open mind to keep continually growing, because we don't know everything. We never will know everything. So just be open-minded, open-hearted, and be willing to learn, Anne-Marie.
Do you find that if people are struggling with being open-hearted, it may be because they have had a previous experience where they've been hurt before, someone has caused mistrust? What would you say to them? Because it's important to have that open-heartedness, to be able to welcome experiences. But if we close ourselves off from that, we can't grow, can we?
Oh, that's so true. And I've actually got goosebumps when you said that, because I've had a series. I mean, I have been married and I love my ex-husband and we're still good friends, but I have had a series of, I guess, unfulfilling relationships. It wasn't about them. It was about me, because I didn't have that right heartfelt reason for the relationship. And I didn't love myself. I didn't value myself, and nor did I respect myself. The minute I took ownership back for owning who I am, what's happened to me and where I'm headed, that's when everything positive, or not everything, but my life has really turned around. So I can speak hand on heart that you have to love yourself first before you can love someone else.
Yeah, so true, because if you don't, then often you will view the world through the lens of skepticism, I would imagine. Why did they say that? And you overanalyze things. When someone says a compliment to you and genuinely means that compliment, why are they saying that? What's the hidden meaning behind that? I would imagine that's exhausting, yes?
Absolutely. And, I have a saying, I have lots of sayings, Anne-Marie, but for me, there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. For me, arrogance was the old Pix, the jealous Pix that, looked upon success as like, how the hell did they do that? Why have they got that? The new Pix is like that abundance mindset and just accepting that others are successful and looking up to them whilst never idolizing them, just admiring and respecting them and going, okay, yeah, I can do that too, and knowing my worth.
Yeah, so true. Love that. So being open to learning. What does the U stand for?
Well, be uniquely you. We are all different. We are all unique people. And I am #the Pix Factor. I'm crazy. I'm, resilient. I'm out there. But I'm me, and I am aiming to be the best Pix that I can be. I can't be the best Anne-Marie Cross. I can't be the best Keith Keller, who connected us. I can't be anyone else other than me. I don't do comparison with others. I learn from others, but I never compare myself to others, because comparison is the thief of joy. And I can only be the best me. each and every day, as I said, I aim to improve myself. So be uniquely you. I'll do hashtag the Pix Factor Star Jump, and get a photo. It's like, that's me. That's who I am. And I know that your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah. Something that you said about, being open to learning, we need to love ourselves because, we cannot expect others to love us and give us that ultimate, that love unless we're willing to give that to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so then being able to then move and shift into being uniquely you, we need to get to a stage where we give ourselves permission to be ourselves, as you said, and not compare ourselves to other people.
Yeah.
Once you realized that, I would imagine, and I mean, share a little bit more about this, is that maybe some of the things that you kept hidden previously or that maybe you didn't really like about yourself, did you realize that all of a sudden, hang on a second, that's really unique and quite different from everyone else? And now that you've embraced that, would you say that's a fair statement?
Yeah, I've had a light bulb moment. Probably, everybody has a few light bulb moments, but it's owning my sensuality, which is completely different to sexuality. And I'm not talking, relationship wise. It's just owning who I am. I'm a very sensual, sensitive woman, and that's okay. I'm not, overtly out there looking sexually, but I'm very sensual and just very confident in myself. And the minute I own that, the more I embraced love and openness and, just being me. So, yeah, and that's been a really tough gig for me. We're all a work in progress, myself included. And to know the difference of respecting, valuing, honouring this temple, this body has been so empowering and enlightening for me. And I know, Anne-Marie, that some of your audience will be survivors of child sexual assault. The statistics are 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 6 boys up to 18. So I know that this will resonate with someone. And as I said, my past, it hasn't defined me. It's made me who I am, but by gosh, it's inspiring me to be who I can be as well.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you for sharing that. Because I think sometimes, not sometimes, people who have experienced what you have, they can bring that shame, that guilt, that anger, and that, somehow that they contributed to that. There was a reason that they did something or not something that was the reason, I think. And you finally realize, hang on a second, had nothing to do with me, does not impact who I am, the value I offer. And I love how you're really validating that through what you're sharing and through your journey.
Yeah. Actually, can I just interrupt then before you said that, Anne-Marie? You said that a really key word is validating. I always sought external validation. I thought I was never good enough and I just needed to be the centre of attention to have that validation. As I said, I was brought up in a beautiful, loving family, but it was that other external validation I was wanting. Now I own myself and I only need that internal validation from me. That is enough. And I encourage your audience to know that they're enough. You are enough. You have everything you have to be successful. Yeah. And I'm not saying you have to go out and conquer the world, although with your podcast listeners, I know they will because they're amazing entrepreneurs.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. So, but just know that you are enough, you know enough, and you have enough.
Yeah, I love that.
Accept that.
And also to be mindful for sure, where you find validation. I remember years ago, many, many years ago, when I was doing my counselling course, you had 2 people and the way that they felt very motivated and where they got motivated from. Some were internal, some were external. But I think sometimes if something happens and you do, as you say, there's some shattering, if you will, of your self-worth because something's happened and you're seeking validation to value who you are and to validate yourself, then that's not healthy. People can certainly add value and praise. I don't know if you've heard of the 5 love languages. Well, my first is touch,
5 love languages.
my second is affirmations. And so it's nice to be able to, when you're validated, but not to the point where I need that desperately because it's the way
exactly.
I can continue on. So love that you've
and that's like confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is about yourself, and confidence is doing something for others.
Yes, absolutely. R. I'm looking at my notes and I'm taking lots of notes here. So what is R? What does that stand for?
Real relationships. There's a saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that is so timely, always timely, even more timely now, where I'm a hugger. I'm absolutely missing the hugs. But what I've got out of COVID is that we actually are drilling down and having more conversations with people and really asking, are you okay? Not just, are you okay? How are you today? Like, how's the weather? Are you okay? Really drilling down and finding out how people are, developing those genuine, heartfelt, connected relationships. And, I'm not saying you're having a relation or developing a relationship to lead for a business transaction. No way. People are not transactions, guys. We really aren't. And just, letting people know that they matter and they are important and they care, and being heard. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yeah. And that's always a work in progress for me as a speaker, but to listen more than you speak. And if you actually look at the words silent and listen, they're actually the same letters, just in a different order.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And a great reminder. A, what does A stand for?
Amazing attitude. It's something you have to work on each and every day. I say we feed our mouths daily, we need to feed our minds daily. So it's a matter of having an amazing attitude. And, if it's less than amazing, as I said previously, acknowledge that, but think, what can I do if I need to improve my attitude? And I was listening to Tony Robbins one time, and who does have an amazing attitude, like many thought leaders. And he said, motion creates emotion. I thought it was the other way around, that if you're feeling down, you don't do the activity, and then that's self-propelling. No, and I've done this. He got 2,000 of us into a suffering state. And I will share, the suffering state that I got into was when my nephew committed suicide. He took me back there. Well, that's the episode I chose. So it was awful. We couldn't help, couldn't do anything. And so we were all suffering, and some people were crying. Then he put on this bop up music and we're all dancing around. He changed our state to change our emotion. So motion creates emotion. So if you're feeling down, change your state. You put on your favorite song, dance around, eat chocolate, whatever makes you feel good. But yeah, as I said, I top up my mindset daily, and that's a work in progress. I have to feed my attitude daily. So just aim to have an amazing attitude.
Yeah, I love that. And I would agree that I know in times when I'm feeling tired, I will put some music on, with a bit of beat and move around, and you really can do that for sure. Yeah. G, what does the G stand for, Pix?
Oh my gosh, the more I hear about this and learn and understand about this, Anne-Marie, grateful and growing. Have a grateful heart and a grateful attitude, guys, because when you start having gratitude in your life, you appreciate the small things. Whilst we're going through these uncertain times and wanting more certainty, aim to be grateful. And I will share, I write 5 things I'm grateful for in a little gold book of gratitude each night. And also I'm doing that of a morning. I'm setting the intention for being grateful. So have that grateful heart. And if you don't know much about it, please reach out. But just, it changes your vibration. And it's like a radio station. If you're operating at 99.9, you will not hear somebody at 70.5 or 100.5. You have to have that grateful heart and change your energy. And then you resonate with those people. And growing. I've got a beautiful, that side, can't do it that way, bamboo tree behind me. And you have to have a growth mindset. Be continually growing, and that's physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And Carol Dweck says you can have a fixed mindset or you can have a growth mindset. It's up to you, whichever one you choose. And it's like this. I've got, a hot fizz here. It's a fizz half full or a fizz half empty. It's how you look at it. So be open-minded to being grateful and have that growth mindset.
Yeah. It's interesting that you should say that because, years ago, I never really, because I thought I went from one project to another and really didn't take the time to be able to just note down the things that I was grateful for. But I do that, intentionally now on a daily basis. And I find that often, even if you are struggling a little bit, you just start and then all of a sudden you become grateful for even the most simplest of things, but it's often the simplest of things that you realize how much gratitude you get from them. So you definitely can certainly change your state even just through gratitude and continue to grow. E, what does E stand for?
Enjoy life and energy. It's, dance in the circumstance, basically. No matter what situation you're in, aim to enjoy it. I've even been at my beautiful mum's late funeral and we actually had a laugh there and we were seeing it as a celebration of life. So I close out a lot of my posts and my content with live life, love life, be your best. You have to embrace each and every day. Whilst I could compare myself with someone who seems to have everything, if I heard their backstory, I'd go, whoa, I'll keep mine, thank you. And I'm just so grateful for where I am. So enjoy life. My daughter and I, we're shopping together, we're cooking together, we're eating dinner together. Thank you, COVID. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be doing that. And I'm having more conversations. So enjoy life. And things happen to you, but they also happen for you. So just make the most of each and every day. And energy. I have unbounded energy, as you can tell. So, And actually, it was Hal Elrod this morning on the podcast, the interview series, that he said, in this day and age of these uncertain times, we don't have a time management issue. We have an energy management issue, because if people tell me they're bored, I'll say, I actually almost rise the hackles on the back of my neck. It's like, go learn a language. You got Duolingo, go learn to play guitar. There's so many online courses. Read a book, for goodness sake. Get off Netflix. So do something that tops up your energy channels. We all have a certain amount of energy in each and every day. And I get there's people out there that, we do have different energy levels, but that's where good quality nutrition comes into it as well. I mean, I'm blessed to have a health and wellness business. So there are beautiful products that help me maintain my gut health, which does get my stomach into an alkaline state because of that gut-brain connection. So it's all about, what you eat, who you feed this with, and what you feel in here as well tops up my energy levels. And doing fabulous podcasts with gorgeous ladies such as yourself give me energy and help me enjoy life, Anne-Marie.
And Fox and the Lion has said, yes, look for the good in things instead of the bad in the next comment, but I'll share that one. And it's so true. Yeah. And, I was listening to some people the other day, one particular person who was really preempting when people would finally get out of lockdown. But it's really the language that you use around it too, because I'm an introvert, an extroverted introvert. Yeah. And I have found even as an introvert, I'm far more chatty when I do meet people. But, and I love the way that you've shared that. And we've covered, the courage, connect and communicate, be open to learning, uniquely you, relationships, amazing attitude, grateful and growing, and energy, enjoy life and energy. I mean, we can really, in any situation that we find ourselves, always look for the learning, always look for the good, always look at the growth opportunity. And for me, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm just going to, I enjoy it anyway. I could live in a cave, I think, as long as I got internet connection. We would be having another discussion if suddenly the internet disappeared. I think I'd be getting a little bit, but it takes you to be willing to look, to even go and look for those opportunities. So that would probably be a barrier that people, but Pix, it's easy for you, but you need to then make a choice. Well, I'm going to proactively look for the
Yeah.
opportunities and learning. I know I often joke, Pix, that if I'm praying, I said, Lord, give me patience. I know there's going to be a lot of waiting in my future because it'll grow my patience. So, in some instances, we build our resilience muscle the more we go through challenges. And,
It is,
look
because
for
if you're
opportunities.
born with the proverbial silver spoon in your mouth and you've had that gifted life, when adversity or disadvantage or something, inopportune happens, you do not know how to handle it. So that's why, everybody's got a backstory, like I said, but my aha moment was, and you said about your language, when the third of 3 life-threatening car accidents, I had a micro sleep, rolled the car, went down an embankment, landed on the roof, and I kicked my way out. I did not think, oh my God, why did this happen to me 10 weeks to the day after the last one? I thought, why did this happen to me? Why did I survive this? What's my purpose? So that was a real defining moment. And it is so much about how you look at it. And life is just such a journey of one day after the other, one step after the other. And it really is how you look at it. And I'm loving this time in this unforced, unpaid holiday at the moment.
It's
a little
good.
bit in lockdown, but it's really interesting, that's for sure.
And Fox of the Lion said, right, growth is key. If you're not growing and learning new things, you'll just be stuck in the sand. That's so true, Fox of the Lion. Thank you for contributing to the conversation. It's great that you're communicating and connecting alongside us. There'll be people that will come out of this with new language abilities, new abilities to communicate in language, feeling refreshed and robust. And then there'll be others that, so it really, the choice is really theirs, isn't it? As what are you doing to allow happen in this particular time? For me too, I was just saying this morning too, I was being interviewed. I don't have FOMO anymore, in that all these people are going different events to different places that I think, I want to go there. So it eliminates FOMO. Let's talk about some of your top tips for maintaining a positive mindset. And I think that's important because we have ups and downs, ebbs and flows, but it's in the, that's the ebbs, the downward spiral, if you will, that we catch ourselves and go, you know what, I'm not going to go down and allow myself. What are some things that can help us maintain or spring back quickly? What are your top tips?
I think the first thing, Anne-Marie, is when you start your day, because how you start your day sets you up for the intention for the rest of the day. And just don't jump on social media straight away. Like, I'm blessed to be able to do meditation at 6:30, and that's open to each and every person. And whilst it's not spiritual, it's non-denominational, it is just something where you literally hold space. Put silence in your day. And start off with being grateful. So don't rush into your day. We don't have to, those that are, homebound these days. But, how you set your morning up really defines. So just be grateful in the morning and, celebrate the sunshine, or if it's raining, celebrate the rain, whatever it is. So how you set up your morning. What you feed yourself. You have to be mindful of what you're feeding yourself, and by that, as I said before, what you're putting in your mouth to feed your tummy and what you're putting in your mind to feed your heart and your soul. So be very mindful of that. And exercise, because the link between exercise and positive mindset is out there.
Mm-hmm. So true. One of the things that you've already mentioned, in the acronym around courage, and if you've mentioned already that being able to connect and to communicate is really important too. When you think around the positive mindset and what you just shared, setting up your day is so key. If we're thinking about the triad of success, do you find that there are certain things that can trigger, and that you've noticed, maybe observed either yourself or you've seen other people, that if they're not mindful of this, they will continue to spiral if they're not careful? Can you share a little bit more about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's, I'm not sure if your viewers are familiar, there's the RAS, the reticular activating system. It's a part of the brain. So if I just said, don't think of your left foot, I bet you everybody's just thought of their left foot. So your language is something that is really critical towards your mindset and how you feel as well. Don't say try. Say I will, or I will aim to, rather than wishy-washy words. And, you know, there used to be a show, Don't Forget Your Toothbrush. What do? You forget your toothbrush. So change that don't forget into remember. So I am endeavouring to say positive language all the time. So just swap it, don't stop it. And even sometimes like, oh, I have to do this. No, I get to do this. Because saying have to is like that obligation, that negative connotations. Whereas if you say you get to, it's like, oh, that's more positive. So your language is very, very critical in what you say. And your RAS, your reticular activating system, what you say and think about is what you bring about.
So true. That was something that I learned years ago too. It was a life changer. And often as even in business, you know, when we're setting goals or in life, if we do it from a negative point of view, like I don't want to be late all the time. Well, guess what you're putting into your awareness? Why not say I want to be early, because it's that positive. I think that alone, if people started to adopt, as well as the other things too, but if they started with that first, it immediately changes a lot of things, because your focus is then on the positive rather than kind of like a double negative, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And if I can, Pix, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say there's one key word with that too, Anne-Marie, about language, the word but. I want people to be a butt kicker, B-U-T kicker. Because if you say this, like, oh, someone gives you a compliment, that's a nice cardigan. Oh, thanks, but it's an old one. You've actually negated what they've just said. So you could say, oh, thanks, and it's an old one. So replace your buts with ands.
Yeah.
Because when you say something, whatever you say after that but negates what's been said beforehand.
Yeah,
so
it's like when people say, now don't take this the wrong way, Pix. You just know, well, just stop right there, because you know,
thanks.
Reframe that. I'm definitely going to take it the wrong way, which I love. Now, Fox the Lion has asked a really good question here, and other people may be thinking this too. I've been thinking of picking up meditation. Is there any good books that I can read to learn or how to do it correctly? If you've got any advice.
It's really, thank you. That's a great question and really interesting, because, as I said, I had the fortune of leading meditation last night, but and I haven't come from a spiritual background, nothing like that. And there's yoga teachers and Pilates and all that in our group. And when I got to lead it, it's like, oh, I'm a bit scared or nervous because. And I changed it around to I'm excited, because I haven't come from that realm. So for me, meditation is just putting more stillness, and it might be as simple. You can learn it, obviously, because there's different practices and modalities of meditation. But for me, it's being present in the moment and just stillness. It might be sitting down for 5 minutes just on your own. It might be really focusing on reading a book. You might get that meditation therapy. But, yeah, I actually haven't read anything about meditation, but I do know Louise Hay and Bob Proctor and Jack Canfield, all the key influencers that I follow speak about meditation. So Robin Sharma's probably a good one, Jay Shetty. I don't know if they've written particular books about it, but I know all the books that I've read have mentioned meditation. So, but yeah, for that person, feel free to connect me and I can source some quality books, because, you know, and then thanks for reaching out, having the courage to ask that and connect with me,
which is good.
So
but I think what you were getting to is to find some method, some way, or set up the environment in which you really can quieten your mind. And it can take a little while. I mean, for me, what I do now, because I'm a Christian, so I love to play soft worship music, read the Bible, and just meditate on the words. And so that works really well for me. But when I first started, and I used to get massages, my masseur would say, oh, your shoulders so tense because there's so much words and thoughts and everything going in my mind. So it takes time. So it's not like, right, got to quiet my mind, because you just it's a process, isn't it? So now, speaking of getting getting connected with you and all of that good stuff, what's the best way for people to reach out, find out more about what you do and how you can support them?
Well, we met through a gorgeous friend on LinkedIn. So I will say that I'm on LinkedIn simply under my name, Pix Jonasson, PIXJONASSON. I'm also on Facebook as well. I am on Instagram under my name again, Pix Jonasson, and I'm also on TikTok. That is just something I'm on because I'm the crazy ass mama that I am. So I'm on the Pix factor there. So look, I do have websites, but they're not updated because for me, I'd rather jump on a call and find the vibe for a person. If I'm a fit for them and they're a fit for me, to be honest. So nothing against websites, but I want them to experience me as me. So
hang
Facebook,
out with
LinkedIn,
over on TikTok. My daughter, I've got one video on TikTok. I don't do that many funny things, Pix. My life's quite boring. And then if I have to think of something funny, it kind of does, anyway. But there's some really good videos that are there, hilarious. So if you haven't already connected over on TikTok, go and do that. I think there's a real art, I think, and it's a gift, I think, with some people that are able to capture a story that really is hilarious in such a short time. So what's your handle again over on TikTok?
Hashtag the Pix Factor.
The Pix Factor. We've got it up there on screen for everyone to see. If there would be one last insight to share, maybe it's re-emphasizing something that you've already shared, what would that one thing be that you would want to leave us with today?
Believe in yourself.
Yeah. So important. And I think the internet has just frozen up, but that was a beautiful moment. Believe in yourself, and we'll end the show with that. Thanks once again for coming on the show, Pix.